COINTELPRO was a covert and illegal FBI program that targeted activists, dissidents, and social justice movements from the 1950s to the 1970s, with tactics ranging from wiretapping and surveillance to blackmail and even assassination. COINTELPRO was responsible for some of the most egregious abuses of power in American history. Join us as we delve into the murky world of government conspiracies and learn about the shocking true story of COINTELPRO. I'm Sydney.
I'm Sarah.
And this week on Let's Be Briefed, we'll be talking about COINTELPRO. Do you know anything about this one?
I don't really at all. I've heard of it mostly from you, but I had no idea what it stands for even.
We'll get there. I think I talked about this one a lot in the Karen Silkwood episodes. If you've listened to those, I apologize. They're pretty bad, but
go listen to them though. So
yeah, listen and remember that we were little podcast babies and we didn't even have microphones yet. So they're pretty rough.
Yeah.
But like I wish we had microphones because I thought that the content was really good, but man, it is painful to listen to.
I guess we should have known, but
how could we have?
It's fine. Yeah, you live and you learn. It's fine. But yeah, I would say nothing. I know nothing about it.
Yeah. All right. So COINTELPRO is short for Counterintelligence Program. Pretty straightforward there.
Should have been CIP.
I like COINTELPRO. It actually does not flow at all.
Right. COINTELPRO is so long. I feel like unnecessarily long for it. That's not a typical government.
No, it's...
Is it? I don't know.
I guess what do we know? It's not like Project blah blah blah. I wonder if it got named after. Like if they did all of this and then they named it after. I feel like they were just doing it.
True. Yeah, and then they're like, oh shit, we need a name for this.
Right.
To declassify it.
Yeah.
I don't know. They have to still be doing this though, right?
Yeah, the NSA, I think Snowden did. Like that's kind of what he released and that pissed people off. But yeah, so the program's goal was to disrupt and neutralize political organizations and movements that the FBI considered to be subversive and a threat to national security. But in practice, it was used to target a wide range of groups and individuals, like civil rights activists, anti-war protesters, and anyone who is perceived as a threat to the status quo, which that is so dangerous.
Yeah. That's like, I mean, that's just the same as like what Russia and China do, right? Like,
right.
That's no different.
Right, and we did this 50 years ago.
Yeah. Or like the same that the Nazis did.
Right. It's not good.
There's no different, yeah.
And the thing is, like, this is true, and I think the number of Americans who don't know this happened is alarming. Like, if there are people now who say they're not watching you, why do you think you're special? Why would they be watching you?
Oh, yeah.
They were watching everyone 50 years ago with no technology. You think that they're not watching us now with all the technology in the world? Where our entire lives are online and it's all traced? They're watching us. They're listening right now.
Yeah, you put it out yourself now. Like, there's no secrets.
Right.
Everyone just blasts their information out without thinking about it.
They're keeping track.
Yeah.
Some of the tactics used by COINTELPRO was illegal wiretaps, blackmail, false imprisonment, and other forms of harassment and intimidation. They also engaged in propaganda campaigns to discredit targeted individuals and groups and used informants to infiltrate and disrupt their activities.
I don't like that at all.
It's really messed up. It's like
Yeah.
when all of the Black Lives Matter stuff was happening and half the country thought that they were just violent protesters. It's because
Right.
of
Yeah.
programs like this that, I mean, and that was exactly what they were doing back with anti-war protest. Like, I think a lot of it was like the Vietnam War. Any kind of protests, like, they shut that down and made them look bad to the general public so that they wouldn't gain any kind of
Yeah.
popularity.
Sympathy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I just can't believe it's been going on this long.
I know.
It's definitely still happening.
And it was like successful. They got away with, like, they
Yeah.
definitely achieved what they were looking to achieve at the time. And that's why with the like Karen Silkwood thing, it doesn't surprise me that they know exactly, like, they knew all of this stuff about her and that she
Oh,
mysteriously
yeah.
disappeared because she was going to make the nuclear industry look bad. And these were the types of programs that made that possible, I guess. It doesn't
Right.
surprise me that those would be connected, and from what we found in the podcast, like, seems pretty likely that she was killed, probably by someone in the government.
Yeah, I think so. They're just, I don't know, is it just such a shady organization that
Well, and that
how
was,
could anyone trust?
I think that this was like Hoover era
Oh,
FBI
okay.
or Kissinger. I don't know. I know those two were notoriously bad, but I don't know who ran what. But it was
Yeah.
very like whatever it takes. And actually, I have a list of some notable people that were targeted by COINTELPRO. The first,
Mm.
Martin Luther King Jr. You'll notice a theme
Oh.
with a lot of these people that they are no longer alive. Whether or not that was part of COINTELPRO or a mere coincidence has yet to be uncovered, but does seem to be a theme that a lot of these people were assassinated.
Yeah.
So the FBI surveilled and harassed Dr. King for years and viewed him as a threat to his civil to due to his civil rights activism and association with alleged communists. He was one of their most high-profile targets, and they began surveilling him in the mid-50s, and it only got worse.
Wow.
They included wiretaps, bugs, and informants. And I know for a fact that they accused, well, I think he was kind of like a ladies' man. Um, and they
Oh.
sent his wife tapes of audio of him cheating on her.
What?
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
and
To like discredit
they
him?
tried to blackmail him, sending him a letter in 1964 that threatened to expose his affairs unless he committed suicide. And his
Wow.
wife, after he died, oh my god. His wife revealed the existence of the letter and it was sent by FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover. Like, he personally sent him that letter. And he had no business
Yeah.
doing that. And I've heard, like, he was obsessed. Like, it was, like, his personal mission to take down Martin Luther King
Ugh.
Jr. Like, he was just against. I know they really did some sketchy stuff to him. And, oh, he died, by the way. Like,
Right.
coincidence?
That's really weird. Why would they say commit suicide?
Right.
How do you think it's not them that killed him then if when he refused to kill himself?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
ugh.
Kill yourself or we'll tell everyone. And they, like, he was constantly defending himself. Like, they would go around and spread all these rumors. Maybe they were true, maybe they weren't. And then he would have to spend all of his time
Oh,
like
yeah.
reeling back the rumors, and that did damage
Right.
his image. I mean, I assume at the time it did more damage, but I'm sure he didn't gain a lot of support because of these like attacks,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah. And then he has to, yeah, spend his time on that instead of on what he's trying to accomplish.
Right.
Hmm.
The next notable group was the Black Panther Party. They also considered them a threat because of the civil rights. They wanted their rights, God forbid. Um,
Right, yeah.
and are you familiar with Fred Hampton?
Not really.
So he was the leader of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panthers, and he was like
Oh.
especially viewed as a threat to national security.
Hmm.
And they, in 1969, they worked with the Chicago Police Department to carry out a raid on his apartment, and he was shot and killed during that raid. And they
Wow.
actually, the raid had been planned and executed with the intent to kill Hampton, and the FBI played a key role in the operation. I think you've seen the trial of the Chicago Seven, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking
I
of,
think
yeah.
he was in that, and they did kill him. And I know
Right.
that later we'll talk a little bit about they were involved with that whole thing too.
Yeah, I could believe that. I loved
I
that
know.
movie.
Any listeners, if you
It's
haven't seen that
very
movie,
good.
watch that movie because it's really good.
Right. Especially younger. I mean, I don't really look at history. I didn't know that happened,
I know
so.
exactly.
But yeah, that's crazy. I feel like they do this now where they go after people and they say they have a warrant or whatever, but then it's like, oops, sorry, we killed the person.
Right.
But that was like their
The
intent
whole
for
time,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
So the next is the SDS, which was the Students for a Democratic Society, which that actually did come up in Karen Silkwood. That's where that spy lady, you know, like
Oh,
Jackie Saruji was a spy in the SDS, but um, they infiltrated their 1969 National Convention, also in Chicago. And they had,
why is everything in Chicago?
it's a big city,
Also, like, is that the same time?
1969.
Sus- yeah, as the
Yeah,
raid.
yes. Right around that same year. Which, honestly,
Busy
probably because
year.
all of those people were working kind of together. Like, they were all on the
Yeah.
same page.
Hmm.
But they had undercover agents and informants at the convention and used wiretaps and surveillance to monitor the organization's activities. There were tensions between different factions within the SDS that came to a head and violence broke out between protesters and police. Was this might have actually literally been part of the trial for the Chicago 7. I can't even know I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but they you know what I'm trying to say. I hope anyone understands, but um, the FBI later claimed credit for making it worse and boasted that their tactics had effectively neutralized the SDS as a political force.
Wow.
Let's talk about right to peaceful protest. Like,
Right.
how is that okay?
Yeah. Wow. History really does just repeat itself,
It
doesn't it?
does.
I can't imagine being like, oh, look at us. We made everything worse. Be proud.
Right.
Like, what?
And they also
Wow.
infiltrated their New York chapter too, and had
Oh, shit.
informants and had a huge smear campaign and made everyone hate each other across the organization. Like, think about how drama divides people. Just a few little like rumors back and forth that could
Yeah.
destroy an
It
organization.
could. Yeah. Ugh, that's so sad.
And a couple of the people who were like mainly targeted within the SDI